If you think you're hard to manipulate because you're smart, you're already inside the trap. Smart people don't get manipulated because they're stupid. They get manipulated because they're predictable. And if that sentence irritates you a little, good, because irritation means identity just got touched. And identity is exactly where manipulation begins. The moment you start explaining yourself, you've already accepted a lower position. Not morally, structurally. If you explain yourself a lot, this video is about you. You don't see yourself as someone easy to move. You see yourself as independent, analytical, hard to influence. That self-image feels solid, stable, strong. But manipulation doesn't attack weakness, it attaches to identity. The stronger your identity, the stronger the leverage, because now all someone has to do is challenge it, and you will react. Let's say it clearly. Explaining yourself is low status. Not because explanation is bad, but because explanation accepts evaluation. When you explain, someone else is judging. When you justify, someone else is measuring. You think you're defending logic, but structurally, you're accepting hierarchy. You're not losing arguments, you're losing power. How often do you feel the need to clarify what you meant? A frame is simple. Who defines reality? Someone says you overthink. You say, no, I'm just thorough. You corrected content, but you accepted their premise. Alternative, what do you mean by overthinking? Now they define. You didn't defend, you repositioned. Manipulation doesn't fight facts, it sets frames. And the person who sets the frame controls the direction of the interaction. Someone says you always complicate things. You feel it, that slight irritation, you prepare to correct it. No, I just think deeper. But notice what happened. You didn't question the claim, you defended the identity, and the frame stayed intact. Another moment, you're told you're too intense. You laugh, then clarify, I'm just focused, but now the room is watching, not your focus. Your reaction, and reactions are predictable. Are you arguing inside someone else's frame right now? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Smart people are easier to manipulate. Because they are consistent, they value accuracy, they hate distortion, they rush to correct misrepresentation, and that urgency is leverage. If I know you will defend your intelligence, I can trigger you anytime. That's not about IQ, it's about predictability. And predictability is control. In a meeting, someone says, I'm not sure you're ready for this. You start listing qualifications. You just accepted the evaluation frame. Decades ago, psychiatrist Eric Berne described this dynamic. One person moves into the evaluating role, the other shifts into approval seeking. Different words, same power structure. High position move. What standards are we using? Now they justify. Energy shifts. You didn't win an argument, you shifted ground. I'm not sure you're ready. You respond, I've handled bigger projects. The room goes quiet, they nod, but something shifted. You're now performing, proving, listing, instead of asking what exactly defines ready, and in that subtle shift position moved. Where are you being evaluated right now without questioning it? You're intense, you're arrogant, you're too sensitive. Each time you correct, you reinforce the label, because you've accepted that perception needs repair. Sometimes the strongest move is not correction. It's containment, silence, or calm redirection. What makes you say that? Now they define, the burden moves. Not every perception must be fixed. What label keeps pulling you into defense? You're overreacting. I didn't say that. You misunderstood. Gaslighting doesn't erase facts. It injects uncertainty. Smart people turn inward. Did I misread that? Internal defense begins. And once you're defending yourself internally, external influence increases. The trap isn't losing logic, it's losing certainty. Maybe I overreacted, maybe I misunderstood, maybe I pushed too hard. You replay the conversation, frame by frame, you analyze tone, word choice, timing, and while you're auditing yourself, the other person is calm, because you moved from certainty to doubt. It starts small, a comment, a joke, a label, you defend, they push further, you defend again. Soon you're explaining your personality, your decisions, your motives, and what began as a remark became a hierarchy. When did you last question your own perception? Between stimulus and response, there is a space. Viktor Frankl described that space as the place where freedom exists. Manipulation tries to collapse that space. It demands speed, immediate answers. instant correction. Smart people react fast. Powerful people react selectively. Slowing down makes you less predictable. Less predictable makes you harder to manage. 1 second of silence can preserve more power than 5 minutes of justification. How fast do you react when your identity is challenged? You leave the conversation thinking, I handled that well. I stayed calm. I stayed logical. But later you realize you spent 10 minutes proving something that was never supposed to be questioned. And that is how frame loss feels. Quiet, clean and visible. This isn't just personal. Organizations set standards, then measure you. Media sets frames, then debates inside them. You master arguments, but rarely question the ground. Smart people optimize content. Powerful people question structure. And the one who controls structure controls power. Let's break this down statement. You overthink, hidden frame. Your thinking is excessive. Common response. No, I'm just thorough. Shifted response. Define excessive. Now the burden moves. You didn't argue. You redirected. That is frame control. Power is rarely loud. It is often slow. Measured, selective. You don't need to win every exchange. You need to notice when you are being positioned and choose whether to step into it or not. Ask yourself, are you trying to be right? Or are you protecting position? They are not the same. Smart people win debates, but lose frame. And once you lose frame, being right is irrelevant. If you're smart, you're not immune. You're exposed, unless you learn to stop explaining. Slow down, question premises, protect position. Because intelligence without frame control is just predictable effort. And predictable effort is easy to manipulate.